Folks, my name's Joel Brashear, and among a few other things, I am an Appalachian storyteller. And I think that kind of got started when I was a youngin' right here in Leslie County, Kentucky at an event we called the Ghost Walk. Some local folks put this together where we'd walk around town and storytellers would set up camp and share their Haint tales or spooky stories, and that really imprinted on me at a young age. Now, this story I heard at a ghost walk one year, and I've been doing some research. I can't find it written down anywhere else. I don't remember who told it that night, but it stuck with me all these years, so I'll share it with you now. It's my daughter's favorite story, and it's called Buttons. There's a spot in downtown Haint, right on the riverbank. Empty lot today, but 100 years ago, it was the nicest house ever built, maybe, in these parts. It sat empty for a while, but all of a sudden this old couple moved in and started running it like an inn. This was before bed and breakfast was all the rage, but you know, we didn't have a Motel 6 or anything like that around here, so when people were traveling through, this is where they'd stop and stay. Nobody knew these folks. They weren't local. They just sort of showed up and started working, but they was nice enough. People took to them friendly. Well, this was the time when traveling salesman was the main way people got a lot of their wares. Now, we had general stores and things like that, but you know, we didn't have Amazon or Walmart delivery, so these salesmen would load up their trucks and their cars, and they'd travel town to town and sell their brushes or their vacuums or whatever it might be. Well, there was an Osborne man who was traveling town to town selling his brushes or whatever it might be. He cruised into hiding one morning. He was looking around and went into the diner there and said, "Where might I stay this evening?" Well, the lady behind the counter directed him to that house down there on the riverbank and said, "That old couple will take care of it." Well, he sold around a little that afternoon and went down to the house, knocked on the door, and a kind-faced old man answered. He said, "Can I help you?" "Old timer, I need me a room if you got one." Old guy scratched his chin and said, "Well, we're pretty near full tonight. Tell you what I can do though, I can put you in the kids' room." Osborne said, "I ain't much on staying with no kids now." "Oh, no. There ain't no kids in there. It's the kids' room. That's what we call it, because that's where the kids done growed up. But you be by yourself. I promise it's comfortable. You'll be fine." Old man brought him in. He took Osborne upstairs and walked him up and showed him the room, and it was beautiful, decorated amazing. There's a pristine chandelier hanging, beautiful white bed in the corner, but it was the wallpaper that really stuck out to Mr. Osborne. It had to be hand painted. It was kids playing games like hopscotch and leapfrog, and they all was dressed in beautiful white clothes, big smiles. All of them had blonde hair. It was a work of art, really. But Osborne looked at the old man and said, if this is what you got, it's fine, I'll take it. The old man said, "Well, I'll send my lady up here in a little bit. She'll bring you a tray of food, and you'll be taken care of." Well, Osborne ate his dinner and laid down for the night. Had maybe the worst night of sleep he'd ever had up to that point. He got up the next morning, went down for some breakfast, and the old lady was there scrambling up some eggs. And she says, "Well, how you doing this morning, Mr. Osborne?" "Terrible. Them kids not keep you up last night?" "We ain't got no kids," she said. "Now, they wasn't in the room with me. They was out in the backyard. You didn't hear them?" Old lady looked at her husband and said, "Honey, did you hear something last night?" "No, Ma, I didn't hear a thing." "What are you talking about, Mr. Osborne? There's kids in the backyard playing, hooping, and hollering going on. You didn't hear that?" "No, neither one of them said they heard a thing." "Maybe I was having a nightmare. I don't know." Well, Osborne goes back out, starts to sell his wares, and he has the single best day he's ever had selling stuff. He's selling right, left, up, down. Everybody's buying everything he's got. He does so well. He planned on going on that day, but he figures he's going to spend another night in hiding and give it another shot. About sundown, he goes back to that old man and woman's house and knocks on the door, and the old man opens it up and says, "Mr. Osborne, what are you doing here? We thought you was moving on." He says, "Well, I've done so good today, I figure I'll give this town another shot. You got another room you can let me stay in?" Old man scratches his chin and says, "Well, we're pretty near full tonight, but I reckon I can put you back in the kids' room." Osborne shakes his head thinking, if I got to hear them youngins in the backyard again, I don't know if I want to do this. I might just sleep in the truck. And the old man says, "Oh, well, you don't want to do that. That ain't comfortable. Just go on in there. My wife will bring you a tray of food. Everything will be fine." Osborne goes in, looks around the room, still beautiful, chandelier, pristine white bed, all made up for him fresh. That beautiful wallpaper he notices again. He lays down and goes to bed. And the screams of bloody murder that come from that old house wake up folks 3 streets over in downtown Haint. It was so bad they called the sheriff, rousted him out of bed. Sheriff comes, knocks on that house there on the creek bank. Old man and the old woman meet him there. "What's wrong, Sheriff? What are you doing here?" "Well, folks, you didn't hear that? I've had people tell me there's been a murder. Something terrible's happened in your house." "Well, Sheriff, I reckon we'd know if something's happened." Sheriff says, "Who y'all you got staying with you tonight?" "Well, nobody, Sheriff. We're empty. We ain't had nobody." "Well, I'm going to have to take a look anyway. It's just to be safe." "Well, come on in, Sheriff. I mean, we got nothing to hide." Old man motions for the sheriff to come in. They look all around, and sure enough, all the rooms downstairs are empty. Bed's not been slept in. There's not a guest inside. Sheriff looks up the steps and says, "What's up there?" "Well, on the right, it's me and Ma's room, and on the left is a kid's room, but we don't ever use that. I mean, it's still made up for the young'uns." "I'm going to have to take a look." "Sure, Sheriff, sure. You go right on up. Go right on up." Sheriff walks up the steps. Old couple follows behind him. Sheriff goes into the master bedroom and looks around. Bed's been slept in, but everything looks normal. He goes over to the kids' room. He's blown away by how beautiful it is. It's decorated amazingly. There's a chandelier hanging in the middle of the ceiling that's just beautiful. The pristine white bed, freshly made. But it's the wallpaper that really catches his eye. It's got to be hand-painted. It's kids playing games, hopscotch, leapfrog, things like that. And they look like it's been painted recently because it's got like a sheen to it. And all the kids are wearing red clothes, kind of maroonish looking. And they all got big bright eyes and puffy faces, like they just had a big meal or something maybe. But he don't pay no attention. I mean, there's nothing in there to see. Sheriff turns around and says, "Folks, I'm sorry. Maybe it was a mountain lion or something that people's heard, but I'll keep looking around. I'm sorry to disturb you." "Oh, Sheriff, it ain't no problem. Thank you for doing your job and all you do for the community." Old man, old woman walks Sheriff to the door, close it as he leaves. He looks down at his wife and gives her a little grin and a nod. They walk back up the steps. They walk all the way up to the kids' room. He flips on the light, goes over to the bed, pulls down the covers. And there in the bed, in a perfect row, just like on my shirt, there's a series of buttons, straight as they can be. Old man gets his hand and he scoops them up, looks at them for a second, gives them a little shake. He walks over to the closet, opens up the closet door. Inside there's dozens, maybe hundreds of boxes, jars, every one full of buttons. Every size, every color, every button you can imagine. They're in that closet. Old man looks at the buttons again, finds the one that matched pretty close, puts those to the collection. Closes the closet door and goes back over to his wife, puts an arm around her and gives her a little kiss on top of the head and says, honey, I swear, after all these years, I'll never understand why they won't eat the buckets. Folks, we do the Ghost Walk here in Hyden every year. We'll be doing it again this October. I hope you can find your way here and join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. Until then, stay safe out there.